I had no skill to offer. I had no wealth to spend. Mine was a greater glory. I had a son to send. Silently the shades of evening gather round my lonely door. Silently they bring before me the face I shall see no more. I'm sure that many people gazing up at the Winged Victory were reciting those words or similar words. They weren't the rich people who were commemorated here, but they were everybody who went to fight. And as such, I'm glad it's going to its true and spiritual home, even though it's been lent to Marrickville for the last 100 years. The Winged Victory has had a checkered history. It's been down, I think, for longer than it has been up on the pedestal. Eventually was taken down because it was actually dangerous.
It really came to a head following Council's decision to create a new Winged Victory after the original Gilbert Doble, and that really did start us asking questions about, well, what are we going to do with the original? How can she be appropriately cared for? How can she be part of the public consciousness again? And I think that naturally we thought the Australian War Memorial would be interested in her.
This is a really important occasion for Marrickville, both the local government area as a whole and of course for Council. For many years we've had a problem with the Winged Victory in the sense of she needed restoring. It was a difficult restoration, there were some legal issues around that, and she was languishing in the council depot. So when the Australian War Memorial came to us, we reluctantly said yes. Reluctantly in the sense that we were letting go an icon of Marrickville, and she'd stood so proudly there in the Marrickville forecourt of the Town Hall for such a long time. But enthusiastically yes, because we wanted to put her back on display in a way that the whole world could see her.
How can you tell with credibility and authority the story of such an awful war where 62,000 Australians are killed, including 457 people from Marrickville from 4,000 who enlisted? How do you encompass such an awful experience? So much sacrifice, but yet a victory won. And of course we realised that Gilbert Doble had already done that through his work and done it so much better than any words on a wall could do.
She's so important for our memory of Marrickville soldiers that died during the First World War, but even soldiers that died after. She's just so much a part of Marrickville's story, and seeing her here represent Marrickville on a national stage is just wonderful.
We've had people go through a very lengthy and somewhat emotional for some of them journey through these galleries, and they get to this end point and they need to have some conclusion. They need to get to a point where they are clear that they're finished and where they take something from it. There was a lot of discussion about how we were going to deal with it, but when we first saw Winged Victory on a web page from Marrickville Council, we all sort of looked at each other and said, there's something which really speaks.
I lived in Petersham Road, Marrickville, so I grew up with looking at the statue all my life actually. I had no expectations. I thought that was better to be like that, and then very overcome on how big it looks and how wonderfully it's been restored.
What I really liked about it was that it was such a positive image after so much negativity from the war, that the people who came home, a lot of them wounded in body and spirit and their families wrecked, but yet they could create something so hopeful to say, well, we've got the rest of the world to go on with.
To have her restored and standing in the forecourt of the Town Hall would have been wonderful. But I think we've shared her with Australia. We've actually given her a place that extends her beyond what we could do. And in fact, to see her lower down, to be able to see the detail of the face and the upper part of the sculpture, which even on the plinth at Marrickville you couldn't see, you were standing underneath her looking up. But to see that look on her face, that look of unmistakable sorrow, I think it's just a wonderful end to the exhibition. It's fantastic that she's here.